The phrase style over substance is more often than not used in a derogatory sense. But I think that sometimes just having something look really cool can make up for its shortcomings and have it be memorable in its own way. A good example of this is Studio Wit's original anime The Rolling Girls, which I think is pretty cool. The show is set in a future Japan that was fractured into four nations by what is referred to as the Great Tokyo War. After the war was over, the segregation brought forth a period of peace and great cultural development, as each of the newly formed nations developed around existing subcultures to an absurd extent. The world of the show is very eccentric, with places like a city that was built on top of the Comic-Con building and now hosts a permanent otaku event, or a reformed Kyoto that is now separated between geishas and people who just really like rock and roll. The story begins when tensions start forming between these countries as some superpowered individuals known as the best start conflicting for power. We see the world from the point of view of Moritomo Nozomi, a girl who is part of the mob, as everyone without power start being known. Due to various circumstances, she's tasked with traveling through Japan and helping out in disputes in any way she can. During her travels, she meets three other girls that agree to accompany her for their own reasons, who also become part of the main cast. The story is divided in a semi-episodic fashion as the four girls travel from place to place, having small story arcs and an overarching main plot that occurs in the background. The story arcs vary widely, from the coming-of-age tale of a girl who wishes to inherit her father's craftsman business, to a Romeo and Juliet-esque friendship between a geisha and a rock and roll family in the previously segregated Kyoto, in a story that takes the themes of accepting new cultural developments without forgetting tradition, and that ends in a very colorful rock concert that even manages to get a shamisen solo. If there's a single thing that is noteworthy about this show, it's definitely this aesthetic they managed to achieve, with beautiful stylized backgrounds and a bright color palette. The show feels like a road trip through a fantastic reality, as our four main characters try the best they can to help out the people in need and grow in their own ways from the lessons they learn. It's definitely a show that thrives on style, as it manages to hook you with its presentation and fun take on the power of human emotion that inevitably triumphs over adversity. Amongst all the stylistic choices this show takes, I think that perhaps the greatest of them comes in form of its insert songs, which are for the most part covers of the Japanese punk rock band The Blue Hearts sung by the four main characters. If you have never heard of the Blue Hearts, I definitely recommend giving them a try, and searching for the lyrics so you can take notice of how surprisingly upbeat and adorable they can be. The covers work really well and are a novel take on their songs, as having four young girls sing them definitely brings them to a new light, and results in one of the best openings I've ever seen, linked in the description if you want to check it out. These insert songs play during the climaxes of each story arc and are the cherry on top that really wrap up the aesthetic. The show of course isn't without its flaws. Some of the main plot is kind of confusing and unfortunately the final story arc is pretty weak. I don't have anything to prove this with, but the time skip we get in episode 4 that shows story arcs that we don't get to see leads me to believe that maybe this show was originally intended to have more episodes but got cut short for some reason, which is probably why it ends up feeling a bit rushed. Regardless, if the way it looks seems at all interesting to you, I'd recommend giving The Rolling Girls a try, as it's a show that never left my mind just for how it looks, and I think that's pretty cool. As always, if you like this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.